Hello students, I welcome to all of you in this class. In the previous class we read that Mridu came to her aunt's house with her grandmother Tapi to meet her cousins. There she found a kitten in the backyard. Meena, her cousin, requested her to keep it as a secret because grandmother didn't like pets in home. Ravi named the kitten as Mahendra Varma Pallav Punai and told Mridu that it is a descendant of Mahabalipuram Rishi cat. When he was describing these things with excitement, there was a creaking sound and they all were moved hurriedly. Mahendran was also afraid and tried to hide itself beneath a bamboo tray. Then Ravi realized that the sound was coming from the room where Lali was learning to play violin. He became annoyed with the harsh sound and said Lali is not able to learn anything in the field of music as she is a very slow learner and she will never learn how to play violin perfectly. Now let's move forward. Mridu crept up to the window. Crept up means to peep. So after the screeching sound, all of them were curious to know from where the sound was coming. So Mridu peeped through the window along with her cousins. Lali was sitting a little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and bowstring, her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. Glazed means shined and jutting out means to support. So they saw that Lali was sitting in the room and holding her violin and bowstring in a strange way because she was not perfect in playing violin, though she was fully concentrated to learn to play that instrument as her elbows supporting the violin and her eyes were focusing on the strings only. On the other side, in front of her, with most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music master. He had a mostly bald head with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears and an old fashioned tuft. So, there on the other side, by taking the support of the window, the music master was sitting. He was a thin person. Bony figure means a thin person. And he was almost bald. Bald means having no hair. Fringe, a section of front hair hanging over the forehead. So he was almost bald and a small section of hair could be seen around his ear. And an old fashioned cluster of hair could be also seen upon his head. Then a gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck and diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down the stem of violin. He wore a golden chain and a diamond ring also. A large foot stuck out from the beneath his gold bordered vesty edge and he was beating time on the floor with the scrawny big toe. Scrawny means thin and vesty means dhoti in Tamil. So he wore a golden bordered dhoti. He was enjoying music by tapping the floor with his toe. He played a few notes. Lali stumbled behind him on her violin. Stumbled means to follow but not perfectly. So he played some notes. Lali was following him, but she was not so perfect like music master, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. So because she was not perfect in playing violin, so violin was looking like a helpless creature in her hand. So what a difference! The music master's notes seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along, as Ravi said. Then what happened? It was the big difference. What was the big difference? That the sound produced by the music master was soft and melodious. It was so smooth and mind blowing, like the train is moving with the rhythm. And this was the basic difference, that the music master was so perfect in playing the instrument, but Lali was not the perfect violin player. Then Mridu stared at that huge bee-ringed hand moving effortlessly up the violin stem, making lovely music. Squawk! There was Lali derailing again. So Mridu was looking continuously at him. She was looking him continuously and much impressed by his perfection. Suddenly there was a sharp shrill sound and Lali again made a mistake. Amma came a wail from the gate. Amma, oh, wail means cry. After some time they heard a voice. Someone was calling Amma, Amma. Ravi, send that beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda, where she was chatting with Tapi. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from, Pati explained to Tapi. Then, when they heard the voice, they noticed that there was a beggar at their doorstep. And Ravi's mother shouted and told Ravi to send that beggar away, as he was coming continuously for a week. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. So when Ravi went outside, Mridu and Meena also followed him. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. Quite at home is to do rest and to feel like home. When they reached in the garden, the beggar was doing rest in the garden, and what he did, he had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze while he waited for the alms to appear. Alms means money. So he removed his upper cloth and spread it under a neem tree to settle himself by taking the support of its trunk, as he was going to take the short sleep, because he hoped that he would get something to eat after few minutes. But go away, said Ravi sternly. My Pati says it's time you found another house to beg from. But as he was going to sleep, Ravi came and told him firmly to go from there and beg from the other houses. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. Gaze means to look continuously. When the beggar heard from Ravi to go away, he looked all the three children and said, The ladies of this house, he said at last in a voice choked with feeling, are very kind souls. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. I cannot believe that they would turn me away. So he said with emotions that I know the ladies of this house are very kind, and they always give me something to eat whenever I come here. I am coming here for a week, and I cannot believe that they don't want to give me anything. So he again wanted to request for something. So he raised his voice, Amma, Amma. Oh, sad his wail might be, but it certainly wasn't feeble. It began in a deep, strong rumble somewhere in his withered belly and came booming out of his mouth with its few remaining teeth stained brown with beetle chewing. So, though his voice was sad, but it was full of hope. This voice perhaps came from his hungry stomach. His teeth were almost brown because of chewing beetle. Ravi, tell him there's nothing left in the kitchen, called Rukumani. Rukumani said. When the beggar again and again pleaded, Ravi's mother, or you can say Rukumani, said loudly, Ravi, tell him that we have nothing to give him and don't come here again. So she sounded fed up. It was looking that by listening her voice that she was tired of that beggar. Now Ravi didn't have to repeat it all to the beggar. What his mother said had been easy for them all to hear. There, under the neem tree, the beggar sat up and sighed. The sound of Rukumani was so loud and clear that Ravi didn't have to tell it the beggar repeatedly. He stood up and took a deep breath. Okay, I'll go, he said wearily. Only let me have a rest here under this tree, as the sun is so hot and the tar has melted on the road. My feet are already blistered. So, what he said, that okay, I'll leave, but please let me do some rest under this tree. It's a hot summer day and it is very hot outside. There are already wounds on my feet. There were some pink small bubbles due to walking on the hot summer land. So he stretched out his feet to show large pink peeling blisters on the soles of his bare feet. So then he stretched his feet to show that his bare feet were full of some small pink bubbles due to walking on the hot summer land. And that's why he wanted to take some rest under the shadow of the tree. So I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy chappals, Mridu whispered to Meena Ravi. Whispered means to say slowly. Then, when Mridu noticed his deep wounds or blisters, she discussed with Meena and Ravi that perhaps this person doesn't have money to buy slippers. Have you got an old pair in the house somewhere? Then she asked to Meena and Ravi that do you have any pair of slippers in your house? I don't know, said Ravi. Mine are too small to fit his feet, or I would have given them to him, and his feet were larger than Mridu's and Meena's. So Ravi denied by saying that he doesn't have any idea about this, that he has the pair of slippers in his house or not, and his own slippers will not fit his feet. Otherwise, he said that I'll give my own slippers to this beggar. But the beggar's feet were larger enough than those children's feet. Now, the beggar was shaking out his upper cloth and tightening his dhoti. He raised his eyes and looked fearfully at the road, gleaming in the afternoon heat. Now the beggar was ready to go. He was shaking his upper cloth to remove the dust from it and tightened his dhoti also. When he looked outside, he was worried, as the road was still shining with the sunlight and it was so hot outside. So, he needs something on feet, Meena said, her big eyes filling. It's not fair. Then Meena said that he should wear something in his feet. He needs slippers. We should do something for him. Her eyes were filled with tears. It will not be good enough to ignore his wounded feet and allow him to go from here in this sunny day, said Ravi. I'm thinking about it. Blubbering, it's not fair, is not going to help. Blubbering means to say repeatedly anything. Ravi said, please be silent. I'm trying to do something. If you will repeatedly say that it is not right, it would not be helpful for us, na? So, what he needs is a pair of slippers. In 2 minutes, he will be frying his feet on the road. So, where do we get them, the slippers? Come, let's search the house. He pushed Mridu and Meena into the house. So, what Ravi did? He said that if you are repeatedly say that it is not right, so it would not be helpful for us. If he would not be able to do anything, he will be on the heated road in the few minutes. So, we should do something and we should make a hurry. He needs a pair of slippers, so we all should search for it in the house. Then he pushed Mridu and Meena into the house. Just as she stepped into the veranda, Mridu's eyes fell on the odd-looking chappals she had noticed when she arrived. Ravi, she whispered to him, whose are those? When she entered, Mridu entered into the veranda. Mridu noticed that the old grey-looking slippers were there, and she also noticed when she arrived on her aunt's house. You also know that those chappals were grey and covered with dust. So she pointed towards those chappals and asked Ravi, "Whose slippers are these?" Ravi turned and glanced at the shabby looking but sturdy old slippers. Sturdy means strong. He beamed and nodded. "These are just the right size," he said, picking them up. Mridu and Meena followed him nervously back into the garden. Ravi turned his head to have a look on the slippers and looked that though they were old, but the size was proper for the feet of the beggar. So he picked them and stepped ahead. Mridu and Meena also followed him to the garden. "Here," Ravi said to the beggar, dropping the slippers in front of the old man. "Wear these and don't come back." When they all reached in the garden, the beggar was about to leave from there. They stopped him and said, "Wear these slippers and don't come back to ask for anything else here." Now the beggar stared at the slippers. Stared means to look. Hurriedly flung his towel over his shoulder, pushed his feet into them and left, muttering a blessing to the children. Muttering means to say. And after that, when the beggar noticed that there are the slippers for him, so he looked happily towards the slippers. Immediately he put his towel over his shoulder and wore those slippers. He went away from there while giving a lot of blessings to these innocent children. In a minute he had vanished around the corner of the street. Vanished means to disappear. In a minute he was disappeared by turning into any street in the hope of getting something to eat. So children, after this what would happen? We will continue in the next class. I hope that you can see in this chapter that how innocent these children were, that they ignored their elders' advice and helped a poor needy beggar. So I hope it is understood by all of you children. Thank you. We'll meet soon with the next part of this chapter. Till then, keep busy yourself in doing something creative. Happy learning. Take care of you.